It's 5:30. I'll call our city council meeting to order. I just want to give a little bit of a, for those, we have so many visitors, I want to make sure everybody understands. We have a special meeting we're going to have in an executive session here real soon up front with the county commissioners. We appreciate y'all being here, all of them being here tonight. So that's going to, and that will take a while. So for those who are on the agenda after that, I apologize, but it might take a little bit. So just as a warning up front. This evening we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilman Brandon Greenhalgh will lead us to the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Tonight with us for our invocation from the Stephenville Ministerial Alliance, David, here.
Let me say, before I say the prayer in behalf of the Ministerial Alliance, we thank you for letting us have this opportunity to pray with you. I hope it helps you. It really helps us to know the partnership that we have. I've been teaching a series of lessons on the life of Moses, and you think you know that story so well so you don't pay attention. But I found something that reminded me of more to the story. Before God allowed Moses to go talk to Pharaoh, he sent him to the leaders of his people. He went with his leaders to go confront Pharaoh. And we feel privileged in the Ministerial Alliance to join in partnership with you to go face whatever we need to deal with in this community. Let's pray. Father God, we bow before you, realizing that you are all wise. And we pray that from that wisdom you will give this group the ability to know what's right, what's truthful, what's honest, and what's best for our community. And may we together join forces to fight against those things that will bring harm, injustice, that will bring oppression, will do what is wrong in your sight. We ask for that wisdom in the name of our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, David. Next item we have is a presentation. We're going to do this one because it's got any attached to it. BT Roads, there he is. Every year, you've been a good partner with us on our project downtown at the park. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, so 3 years ago, partnered with Stephenville Parks to raise funds for inclusive playground by putting on a golf tournament. So we just had our third annual golf tournament. Raised $38,368. If you want to know more about the progress of the playground, there's a guy to talk to right now.
How many phases is this going to be done in? We've been to the revenue, I'm sure.
Just completed the PO for phase 2, so we just ordered phase 2 and there's one phase remaining.
Good. How much will this help? Is this on phase 2 or will this help pay for the next phase?
It'll help for a percentage of the third phase.
Okay, great. We
And so we'll
appreciate
be doing this again next year.
And y'all do a great service for the citizens of Stephenville. I appreciate it. I know that everyone on the council here has had calls when we call you or the local rep. We take care of calls just like that. We appreciate y'all's partnership with us. You know, I'm hiding behind it. It's so short.
I got it.
I'll just-
Keep it over
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, do we have any comments from general citizens discussion? Okay, with that then, I gotta read this correctly. In compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes annotated in accordance with Section 551.087 deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, Project Feather. And we're gonna go back with the county commissioners court, and I get you to add some others there as well. And so we'll be back maybe a while, so just kinda hang on. We'll stand in recess. 6:44, I'll call us back into regular session. We have two council people had to stop off for a moment. They'll be here in just a second. We'll get started at that point. We'll pick up with our regular agenda item, consider approval for the I'm gonna let you discuss it.
Mr. Williams.
Are all these yours,
Yes, sir.
Nick?
Yes, sir. Well, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Who has
Unless the
5 and
chief
6?
wants me to take the
Okay,
next
good.
one.
I'll take 5.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Council. First item on the agenda is the renewal agreement with Mr. Esquell for lease agreement. Mr. Esquell lives just adjacent to the landfill, and for a couple of decades now, the city has leased that unused portion of the Top One landfill to Mr. Esquell to run his cows on. That lease agreement has expired, and he has expressed an interest to renew that agreement. And we've had the discussion that we are pursuing that limited scope amendment to reclaim some of that property for the landfill. And Mr. Esquell fully understands that if and when that amendment is approved, that this agreement will either be restructured or terminated. And it does allow us a 90-day provision to terminate this agreement altogether. It's for a 1-year term and allows for 3 successive 1-year renewals, even though we feel like we'll be well under construction or complete at that point.
Questions for Nick? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the Esquell lease agreement as it's been presented.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
Next item is an amendment with Friesen Nichols, amendment number 15 for plan review services. So the city's been using Friesen Nichols since 2014 to provide engineering plan review services for water, sewer, streets, drainage, but primarily stormwater. And while the city is moving forward with plans to acquire another company to help us do that, we do have several reviews that are underway currently. And so we're asking for this amendment with Friesen Nichols for $30,000. We think that that'll be more than conservative enough to finish the projects that are currently in the review process. There's $45,000 budgeted for review, so while we're $15,000 under that number, please remember that these review services are billed directly to the developers, and so they're complete pass-through.
Questions for Nick?
When do you think acquisition of a new firm to work with is
We-
going to happen?
We have a meeting with someone scheduled next week,
Okay.
so we're hopeful.
Other questions? Do I hear a motion?
Mr.
Make
Mayor,
a
I move-
motion, Mr.
Go ahead.
Mayor, that we recommend the authorization of amendment number 15 with existing agreement with Friesen Nichols.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Next item.
Next item is a debatable items amendment with Jacobs. Doing some closeout year audits, Jacobs came to us in 2022 and said, hey, we're doing some audits and we found some outstanding fees that haven't been paid yet. Well, you haven't invoiced us yet. So you can imagine, being a couple of years old, we went back through with a very fine-tooth comb and we found, sure enough, there were some delivery tickets that matched up with chemicals and rebatables. And over those 2 fiscal years, 2021 and 21-22, we found that there was just over $29,000 in that 2021 closeout year and just under $66,000 in the 21-22 closeout year. This particular calendar year that we're on, or fiscal year that we're on now, 22-23, our chemicals budget drove us over that rebatable cost by just under $33,600. So totaling all that up is $128,513.37. Visiting with finance, Ms. Harris did confirm that we could absolutely cover all that by fund balance, and we're looking at provisions to keep that from happening again. When we have monthly reports submitted, all of our manifest tickets are submitted with that, so we're doing a much better job of tracking those items.
Questions?
So did they just never send us the invoices?
That's correct. It was an end of the year settle up, and so when you get hit with an an end-of-year bill that happened several months ago, you tend to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, which is what we did. And we culled out about $20-something thousand out of that. They had charged some repairs to those items, and so our monthly process of upkeeping and auditing is much more in-depth.
Thank you. Other questions? Hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve closeout fiscal years 2021, 21, 22, and 22, and 23 for operations at the wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
Have a motion, a second.
That was
All in
the
favor,
wrong-
say aye.
That was the wrong item. We're on closeouts with Jacobs?
Item number 3.
Item number 3.
You said wastewater treatment plant.
With the Jacobs, they're a wastewater treatment plant, right? I mean, I could take
Okay.
Jacobs
Nope,
off if I
sorry.
need to.
You're good, sorry.
Okay.
It's the same company.
Okay, sorry.
No, good catch, though.
Okay, well, revote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
Last item on the agenda is the annual renewal for operations at our wastewater treatment plant. Every year, we go through a process to determine what that's going to be. There's a process spelled out in the contract. When we use that contractually calculated rate, that increase comes out to 6.89%. Given the history that we've had with them, this is our 27th or 28th year that we're doing business with this company or forming this company. Given the issues that we had that we just talked about in the previous item, made our negotiations a little bit better. We got that down from 6.89% to 3.50%. And while that increase is only 3.5% for our operations, we did go up on our sludge hauling and our chemicals to avoid those issues of going over those rebatable costs that we just talked about in the last item. It's a total of 5.6% overall when you include those increases for, particularly for chemical costs. And we're seeing that not just in the wastewater treatment plant, but in our water operations when we order chlorine and that sort of thing.
Questions for Nick? Hear a motion?
Make a motion, Mayor, that we consider, make a motion to approve the annual amendment to the wastewater operations agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Jason, item 4, or 5.
Yes, sir. Item 5 is the bid for new police vehicles for this year. And when we move to the next one at 6, we'll talk about why it's not on consent. But so I would ask you to approve the bid that was received from Bruner Motors for the police vehicles.
Questions for Jason? Do I hear a motion?
Make the motion that we approve the bid from Bruners for the 3 police patrol vehicles.
Second.
A motion and a second. So you vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
So as typical on our fleet police vehicles, we do a financing package on those for 48 months. So what we're coming with you tonight is the PD, when they did their budget this year, had anticipated an increase in the cost of the vehicles, and they did that working with our vendors. Turns out it wasn't enough of a cost increase. Their vehicle markets, and I'm told some of the strike stuff has knocked that up even higher. And so what that does on our financing is increased it by $1,725.
Over the period,
No, each year.
each year.
Of the 48 months. It really is not going to require an overall adjustment. We'll shift. The overall budget accounts for cost of the cars and the equipment for the cars. And so basically, when talking with the chief, they'll have $1,725 less
For the next one.
on the outfitting side of it. But that doesn't cause him a headache either. So we just wanted to have that discussion with council and let you guys know that it would be $1,725 more than what was
But you're
originally
saying the
anticipated.
chief's gonna be able to offset that?
Yes.
Okay. It's a resolution, we'll have to do this as a resolution, so do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution 2023-R-24 which is the financing agreement for the purpose of procuring police vehicles.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Steve, you're up. Everybody else here is because of you, right?
That's absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Last few months, I was pretty easy on
Yeah, you
the
were.
agenda, making up for it tonight. The first thing I wanted to mention is the update on the backflow prevention program. You might remember during the council, or the budget review with council this past year, we proposed this program. It's a program that we're wanting to move in-house. We've been sending it outside through contractual services to have a company help us with the non-compliant backflow devices that we have across the city. There's approximately 1,700 devices across the city. We're running around 400 in the non-compliant range. And
those are
so
sprinkler system, yard
this
sprinklers?
is, let me clarify, thank you for that, Mayor. Anytime there's a connection to the city water system, the potable water system, there's a potential for a backflow with a non-potable water supply coming into our system, there has to be a device there. So typically, real common areas would be the irrigation systems or fire protection systems that are connected to our water supply. So there has to be a RPZ or a backflow device there to protect our water supply, and they have to be tested on an annual basis. The annual testing is where we're falling behind. So we contracted this out, outside services. We were running about 33% when this became an issue on non-compliant devices. They were able to get it down to about 25%. This is a very fluid number. Every month we add new ones on, and we have new ones come in that are non-compliant, so it's been very fluid. So we're back up to about 36% right now. And that's after gaining 107 compliant devices over the past year with the contract. We want to bring that in-house and see if we can track it. Got a young lady named Heather Meismer, who is our permit technician, very quick learner. If she says she's going to do something, she learns it quickly and she does it quickly. So we're going to give her a chance at this, and we've designed a workflow using our existing software. Our target date is to kick this off January. We've been designing the program, the workflow. We're going to do some PSAs and some social media notifications so the community knows what's coming, and it will again target the non-compliant devices. No formal action needed tonight. You guys have already approved the program. Just wanted to bring it to your attention and let you know that we are planning to kick that off.
Are we gonna be
in
proactive
January.
in notifying those folks? I forget my prescription all the time, and CVS sends me a text message, next week you got so-and-so coming in. Are you gonna be doing the same thing and maybe cut down some of that delinquency?
Yes, sir. We will start this off. And now, the non-compliant device, the owners of those have been notified already. But we're going to go through the notification process again, and there will be a 30, 60, 90-day process on the enforcement. So we will be giving them up to 90 days to become compliant.
I'm talking about in the front end, let them know in 30
Yes,
days
sir.
you're.
Yes, sir. We will
How will
be.
they notify the street?
We will have a list of addresses. It will go to the registered owner, the legal owner of record, but we will also send it to the resident in the event that it's a rental property. So we will be notifying everyone, kicking it off, and then, of course, if there's any discrepancies on what our records reveal and what we may find out through the program, then we'll work with those folks to correct our records and make sure that no one's penalized unintentionally.
Is it a separate letter or notification, or is it just put it in their water bill or something?
A separate letter, yes, sir.
I just don't want to miss mine.
It will look bad, we bring it before the council.
Exactly.
Any questions for Steve? Thanks, sir. Next item.
All right. Next item is update on PD 2022-001. This is for the property at 1300 Pecan Hill Drive, which is parcel 50244. You might recall this was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission in 2023, recommendation to council to approve, and then subsequent approval by the city council. This PD, as you know, city ordinance requires an annual update, so we're a few months behind on the annual update, just due to scheduling conflicts. But we do have a new development schedule there on the screen, and you can see that the owner of this development is looking at trying to actually start some site work as early as this month, and then hoping to wrap up the entire project by August of 2024. So City Council, or I'm sorry, Planning and Zoning Commission did review this and recommend the City Council approve the modified development schedule.
Questions for Steve? This will require an ordinance vote. Do I hear a motion?
Move for the approval of ordinance extending the modified development schedule for plant development district.
That's 2023-0-34.
Yes.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
Next item is preliminary plat 2023-003. Applicant Reese Flanagan, he's here with us tonight with Flanagan Land Solutions. He's representing Troy Kunkel. You might remember this PD as well. It's on Washington Street, across the street from the elementary school, right before the railroad tracks. This is a PD that was approved, and here recently we even approved a modified development schedule, as recent as August, I believe. Looking at the site plan and working with TxDOT and then the city site plan, with the city on the site plan, what the developer realizes that they were going to have to shift the property down to incorporate the right-of-way, and then also deal with TxDOT driveway application approval. And so they picked up another property at 897 West Washington, which is directly adjacent to the existing PD. They're wanting to pull that into the PD so they can allow the buildings to shift down. They're not going to add any additional units. They'll actually lose some units because of the right-of-way and because of a drainage feature that has to be on the back side of the property. But when they shift to the west, they'll be able to absorb those units, and so it'll be same number of units, but just incorporating that one additional lot. So asking for an amended PD on that. And again, Mr. Flanagan's here if there's any questions that.
When this first came up, I mentioned the concern I have with access, the elementary school there in traffic. And has the chief, are you okay with this?
Just stepped out.
You stepped out. So I'm assuming you can talk to the chief about this, and is everything's okay?
Yes, sir. And we have pre-development meetings, of course, and have reviewing departments look at all of this before we get to this stage. So rezone was approved previously, and again, we're just asking to amend that PD, which is an ordinance revision.
Questions for Steve? Question we want to ask the developer? Hearing none, we'll enter to a public hearing on case number PP 2023-003. Does anyone want to come and speak in favor or in opposition to the proposal? You're not speaking in opposition, Monica?
No.
Just walking by. Okay, then I'll close the public hearing and consider approval of the ordinance 2023-0-35.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve that ordinance 2023-0-35, amending the planned development district and preliminary plat as presented.
Second.
Have a motion second, further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
This is related to the PD that we just amended, and probably is redundant, but I guess for safety and precaution reasons, I went ahead and asked that we include it as a rezone. So this is the property at 897 West Washington. Again, it's Mr. Reese Flanagan representing Troy Kunkel. It's simply to rezone that 897 West Washington to planned development, which technically you did with the amended PD, but just wanted to make sure that we had all the bases covered on this. So Planning and Zoning Commission convened on November 15th, 2023, unanimous vote, recommended the City Council approve the rezone request.
Any questions for Steve? Questions for the developer? Hearing none, we'll enter into a public hearing. Do you want to come and speak in favor or in opposition to case number RZ 2023-008?
Mayor, if I may, we did have one letter of opposition. I believe it was forwarded over to you.
Yes. Do y'all need to get the letter, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we rezone the land described here as from B2 to planned development as presented.
Second.
Have a motion is second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next case.
Next case is Mr. Ron Gailey, representing V84 Holdings LLC. He's requesting a rezone of property located at 1900 Gross Spec, which is parcel R71065. Planning and Zoning Commission convened on November 15, 2023. By unanimous vote, recommended the City Council approve the rezone request. Mr. Ron Gailey's here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Mr. Daly has submitted a request to speak to us. You got 3 minutes. Give us your name and your address. You got 3 minutes. It never takes you that long to speak.
No, not at all. Ryan Gailey, 647 Tab, Stephenville. I'm really here, we're just trying to rezone this from industrial to multifamily. Going to build, don't have a set plan as of yet as to what we're going to do. Just going to be, either apartments or townhomes and that kind of thing. And so just if anybody has any questions.
Questions for Ryan? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're going to enter a public hearing on case number RZ 2023-007. Does anybody want to come speak in favor or in opposition to the request? And then we'll close the public hearing and consider, entertain a motion on the proposal.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion, we approve RZ 2023-07.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
Next item is RZ 2023-009. This is Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC, representing Dr. Cam Woon Ip. And they're requesting a rezone of property located at West Lincolnville Highway. It's 11.9 acres of the Jarrett Survey. Planning and Zoning Commission met by special meeting last night and reviewed this rezone request. We did have some residents show up to speak about the case, provided some pretty constructive feedback to the developer. The Planning and Zoning Commission had some great questions. The first motion was to approve the rezone. It failed for lack of second. The second motion was to deny, and it failed for lack of the number of votes needed to deny. So it moves forward to City Council without a recommendation. Since last night, Encore has committed to being a good neighbor and wanting to make this site work well for the surrounding neighbors. And so they have submitted a letter to address some of the issues that were brought forward last night, which basically increasing the distance as a buffer zone from the properties there on Dell Street to provide, they're going to maintain the trees there, the greenbelt area is a natural barrier, and then extend that from 30 feet to 80 feet, roughly 70 to 80 feet, depending on where you are in the drainage greenbelt area. So again, Planning and Zoning Commission did not make a recommendation on this particular case. However, on RZ 2023-010, they did recommend approval. So these cases are basically sister cases. It's for the acquisition of the property by Encore, and so each will need to be acted on separately, but we had one with no recommendation, one with approval, and we're asking for City Council for consideration on the rezone to industrial. This is for Encore to have administrative offices, but they're also going to use the backside of that property for outside storage. Outside storage, the only permitted use, only land use district is industrial when it allows for outside storage, and so that's why the rezone is necessary. If you look at the conveyance plat that's there on the screen, the purple color, purple is what we use for industrial, and that's what they're wanting to rezone. Everything was B1 before for this particular parcel, and it will be rezoned to industrial. They are actually looking at two parcels, as I mentioned. So this is Dr. Ip's parcel, and then the second parcel is owned by Mr. Brad Allen, and that's the configuration of what they will be acquiring. The rezone will only be applicable to the color purple, and everything else will remain zoned as B1 for Dr. Ip's property. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Also, we do have Thomas from Kimley Horn, And we also have Pat Wilson from Encore and Miss Marissa from Kimley Horn as well, if you have any questions for the developer.
We'll give you an opportunity to come speak to us if you want. Give your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Appreciate you coming tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Appreciate the opportunity. Thomas Fletcher with Kimley Horn, 6160 Warren Parkway, Frisco, Texas. As Steve has mentioned, the rezone is for an Encore Distribution Service Center, which is administrative buildings for their facilities. At one time, Encore had property located within the city where they had a yard that held poles and other materials that are used to repair the electric grid, the system when things go down, whether it's an accident where maybe a car impacts a pole and a pole needs to be replaced. There was a land swap with the city years previously, and the storage yard had been moved to Eastland. There was also facilities on Graham Street that Encore did not own. They were a tenant there. They were leasing. That lease has since terminated, so this is really a replacement project for that. So we've been working with the city and looking for land opportunities where we could build this new facility. So that's really what this project and this zoning request is for, so that we can bring those storage items closer in town so that they're closer to the facilities that we're trying to operate and maintain. We did have feedback from a couple of the neighbors yesterday, and the biggest concern was the buffer, the tree buffer. There's an existing drainage area that goes through those existing trees. Originally, our layout or concept plan was showing about 30 foot of preservation. At some time in the past, the property owner had gone out there so that he could utilize the property for ag purposes and put up an ag fence. So we looked at that, we had our survey, we checked where that was in relationship to the back property line. As Steve had mentioned, it's roughly 75 to about 84 feet off the property line. And the letter we've provided basically states our perimeter fence that's going to enclose that storage area, we're going to place that back at that same location, which will enable us to preserve that area, maintain that buffer for those trees. But appreciate your time tonight. Happy to answer any questions for you. And
Questions?
Thank you for your consideration.
You'll remember Encore was going to do this outside city limits, so them coming in town will actually create a tax base for us.
That's correct.
Any questions? Anybody else want to speak, Steve? Are the others that came?
I believe that's it, sir. No, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll enter a public hearing on case number RZ 2023-09. Anybody want to come speak in favor or in opposition to the request? I'll just come out and ask. Brett, are you okay with that?
Yes, very much so. We did, I have visited with Encore multiple times. They have satisfied any type of situation. I actually think they're going to be good neighbors.
Good.
This is a good fit. There was this area of contingency regarding the tree line, and they have been more than accommodating, even in writing, on what they're willing to do to establish a natural buffer that already exists. So I think I have to speak in regard to the authority from several neighbors that we are happy.
Good. I'll consider it to be public testimony, even though we didn't get it recorded, but Red, I know Red, everybody knows Red. You sit right there. Any other body want to speak in favor or in opposition? I'll close the public hearing then and consider ordinance, consider approval of ordinance.
I'm sorry, I have a question real fast, Mayor, for Steve, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the reason for the rezone request was because of the yard, because they could come and put their office in right now if they wanted to, correct?
Absolutely.
So the only reason why we're even having this discussion is because they're gonna have the pole storage back there.
That's correct. You look at their site plan, they will have a lot of storage, but it'll be behind their administrative offices. They will have the back green belt area screening. And we've talked to them about, trying to make sure that the side screenings are also, where you can't see back in there, and
I think
it's
they're actually
more
putting up that
aesthetically pleasing.
fence
So-
as well, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
So really, we're just rezoning an abundance of caution here.
Yes, sir. To your point, Higginbotham's is right up the road.
Right.
Outside storage. It was probably there many years before the zoning ordinance was. It's a legal non-conforming use. This is not going to be any different. It's just industrial zoning was the only box it would fit in for the outside storage.
Anybody else? Consider approval of the ordinance 2023-0-38. Do I hear a motion?
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, make a motion that case number RZ 2023-009, make a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you, Red, appreciate you. Appreciate you working with them. Next item, case number RZ 2023-10.
Yes, sir. This is basically the same situation. It's a sister parcel for the same development, asking for a rezone from B1 to industrial. Same site plan, same conveyance plan, no additional information.
Other questions? Enter a public hearing. Anyone who can speak in favor or in opposition to the request? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and consider approval of the ordinance 2023-0-39.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the rezoning ordinance for the land described as from neighborhood business B1 to industrial.
Second.
Have a motion is second. Discussion. Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mayor.
Mr. Greenhall.
All right, our Personnel Committee, we've met on November 14th, 2023, and Chief Isbell was asking us to recommend to the council to consider authorizing the position of EMS Battalion Chief. Chief, do you want to fill us in on it a little bit?
Mayor and council, good evening. So what we're requesting tonight is really a continuation of a battalion chief position. If you remember, about a year ago, we reorganized the fire administration into division chiefs, and as a part of that initiative, we agreed to do away with the battalion chief's positions through attrition. And we have attrition one, with the second one, the last one we have left, scheduled to retire in January, the end of January. What we're asking is the continuation of one of those positions as the EMS chief to manage not only all of the EMS, the ambulance service, but as well the community paramedic outreach that we're doing in the CARES program. We believe that all that's being done with that program wrapped up with the EMS is more than justification for that supervisory position. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the chief?
What kind of continued growth do you see for that?
Well, so we did not anticipate this need, but this program has taken off.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's just, I believe that it's just going to be in the rank and file of the firefighters. That's where we're going to see the growth in the future, supporting that program.
Other questions for chief? Randy, do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the creation of EMS Battalion Chief.
Second. Have a motion, second. More discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Just a comment, chief. I did speak with the medical director for one of the largest insurance companies in Texas, and that is a billable service. So I think we ought to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks, sir.
I'm glad you finally grew a fireman mustache too.
Is that the one that burns all stains when you're fired? Ms. Smith?
Oh, man. Alrighty, so the nominations committee also met on November 14th with a long list of items to go over. And I will go ahead and, I need to start with the interviews first. We had a few open positions on boards that required interviews for the new, for them to be new sitting on this board. And I will start with Board of Adjustments, Robert Nemo. If you don't mind coming to the podium, please, sir. Thank you. First, can I just ask what your address is?
301 Tanglewood Circle.
Awesome. And then in your application, you stated that you served on BOA before. What years did you serve on the Board of Adjustments?
Good question. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact dates.
And what is your interest on serving on Board of Adjustments again now?
Well, back then, I was busy with my full-time job, and now since I'm retired, got a lot of time on my hands, and I want to be involved
Yes.
and give back to the community.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Nemo this afternoon or this evening?
Come on, Coach.
I've known you too long.
Tell us some stories.
I've got quite a few, I will say here.
We'll have a recess here, just tell us a few.
With that, thank you so much for your volunteering to serve for our community.
Thank you.
You wanna handle these all at one time, or are we doing it individually?
Each day.
Each one?
Yes.
Each one, so Board of Adjustments. I would like to make the motion that we approve Robert Nemo for effective immediately to fill the vacant spot for Ben Tackett on Board of Adjustments.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. You're nominated even though you got bad stories?
I'm gonna let second it anyway.
Okay, all right.
Then since.
Let's proceed to vote on that.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next spot on Board of Adjustments is going to be place 5. It's going to be vacated by Alan Nix, which will be filled by Mary Beach McGuire, who is already serving on planning and zoning, so she does not currently need to be interviewed for this position. So I'd like to make the motion that we approve Mary Beach McGuire to place 5 on Board of Adjustments.
Is she, hold on, I'm sorry, is she rotating off
Yes,
of P
she's
and Z
moving
then?
from P and Z to
Okay.
BOA.
Okay.
You seconded it, Bob? I did. Have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next one that we will start with, since they are here, is going to be CETA. And our first interview is going to be Ricky Thurman.
That was out loud.
You're out of order. Do we have an officer in the room? Have it escorted out.
All right. Mr. Thurman, would you please give us your address?
1430 Sundance.
When you were serving on the councils, what committees did you serve on?
Nominations and, well, I try to forget those things.
Personnel.
Personnel, finance,
Development.
services.
You want me to name them for you?
If you don't mind.
Why it all starts.
I think I was on Public Works one year.
I switched you around a bunch.
It might have been easier to name the ones you weren't on.
I was not on tourism.
She didn't want you.
When you were on council, did you attend CETA meetings?
Yes, I did.
And then when on council, were you involved in compiling a plan to bring new economic developments to our community?
Yes, I participated in development of, I believe, all of the TERS that we have today, and the negotiations with Washington Commons and Stable, and 281 water line development, clean control. It was a good few years, wasn't it?
Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Thurman?
I just want to make a comment. No, you can't ask questions. I just want to make a comment. You know, we all serve as committee chairs, and when personnel came up, Mr. Thurman looked at me and said, "Why me?" And yet volunteered to be the chairman of that committee and help restructure our entire personnel manual, our pay system, went through, worked with Monica on that, and Justin on the finance committee. Did an outstanding job. We wouldn't be in the position we were today without the work you did. I appreciate your help a lot.
Thank you. Brandon, I hear it needs more work.
Any other questions for Mr. Thurman? I'd personally like to thank you again for volunteering to serve for our community.
Thank you.
You gonna make a motion?
So with that motion, I'll make the motion that we approve Ricky Thurman for CETA. Hold on, let me find my seat here, my placement of Ricky Thurman here on the CETA board. For place 1, no, I'm sorry, I take that back.
I'll let you.
Place 6 of the Stephenville Economic Development Board.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I'm just gonna jump out and make a suggestion to the CETA board. He would make a great chair of your organization.
Continuing on CETA, I would like to, we are removing Wendell Hollingsworth from place 4 due to the change in population numbers. You now have to live in the city to serve on the CETA board. And so with that, I would like to make the recommendation of Marion Cole to fill place 1 of the CETA board. And since she has already served, she does not need to be interviewed again.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Then next is place 2, and that's going to be Mr. Malcolm Cross. There are term limits on CETA, which I believe are 7 years, and Mr. Cross has served 6. So this is going to be a recommendation that to place Mr. Cross on place 2 for a 1-year term. So I'd like to make that motion for Malcolm Cross to be in place 2 for a 1-year term.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then I would like to make the motion for Lori Beatty to stay in place 4 of CETA. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, we'll just skip down 1 to the Main Street Advisory Board. With Marion Cole moving to CETA, that leaves her place 1 spot vacant. And so I would make the recommendation to council that we place Philip Greer in place 1 in place of Marion Cole for the Main Street Advisory Board. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Place 2 on the Main Street Advisory Board, place 2 is being vacated by Terry Colley, and I would like to replace her with Scott Allen, put them with Scott Allen.
Second.
Brandy, is that you?
Yes.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Place 4 was vacated by Kelly Salt, and I would like to make the recommendation to council for Jill Burke to sit in place 4. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then I would like to make the motion for Rita Cook to remain in place 6 of the Main Street Advisory Board.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm going to jump back into Board of Adjustments, because we did not, did we vote Mary Beach? We did.
Mhm.
We did put Mary on there.
Moment.
Oh, and then to reinstate Momi, I can't butcher his last name.
Casey.
Quasi, to remain in place 4.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
We'll move to Planning and Zoning. Place 2 is being vacated by Justin Allison, and I'd like to make the recommendation to council to replace Justin with Alan Nix, who is moving from Board of Adjustments to Planning and Zoning.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, place 4 is being vacated by Mary Meeter Guire, who's moving to Board of Adjustments, and I would like to move Bonnie Terrell from alternate 1 to place 4. Second. And then with that, alternate 1 being vacated by Bonnie Terrell, I make the motion.
I'm gonna get this. Gotta go.
Oh, so, you just
It's okay.
stopped me.
That's all right. I should. I did. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then with alternate 1 being vacated by Bonnie, I'd like to move Justin Slauson from alternate 2 to alternate 1.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And then I'll jump to Tourism and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board. I believe Kaylee had to leave this evening, but Milo is still here. And if Milo, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I should have got to you earlier.
Always has start shirts on.
Beg
He always has start shirts.
Milo's always sharp.
Mr. Choate, if you would please give us your address.
1392 Highland View.
And then have you served on any committees or boards before?
Not with the city.
Not with the
no.
city. And what is your interest on serving on the Tourism Visitor Board now?
No, I live here, make a living here, have family here, raise kids here. Certainly have, certainly want here to thrive and prosper, and I guess when you're asked to serve, you do your part. So this is me doing my part in a small, in a small way, but my part, so.
Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Choate?
I don't have a question, but as the chair of that committee, I was very excited to see that you had
Well,
applied.
thank you. That's- well, I
We've
appreciate
served on
that.
boards together
Yeah, right.
previously and other
Mhm.
things, so thank you for.
Good, look forward to
second that
working with you
motion?
then.
So yes, I would like to second that motion.
Okay.
Okay. The motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate your service.
Thank you so much for wanting us to serve. And then, the next we'll move to the plumbing board, and it's just to reinstate John Weber in place 2.
I have a motion over here, a second.
Second.
And then Larry Graham in
Well, we
place,
gotta
oh,
vote on it.
sorry.
That's all right, I'm doing as fast as I can. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
And then Larry Graham to sit in place 4.
Have a motion is second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
Electrical board would be reinstating Kenneth Howell for place 2.
Second.
Have a motion is second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
The building board would be reinstating Fred Parker in place 2.
Second.
Have a motion is second. All in favor, say aye. I assume you made the motion.
Yes, sir, sorry.
And who made the second?
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
There you go. I'm just getting old. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
The mechanical board, I make the recommendation to council for Rick Alderfer in place 4.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
The library and advisory board, place 2 is being vacated by Darla Fent. And I make the recommendation to council for George Morano to fill place 2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
I would like to reinstate Kathy Eichenberg in place 4.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
Kathy Horak Smith in place 6. I make that recommendation as well.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
And then Joe Garcia in place 7. I make that recommendation to council as well.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
The airport advisory board, Austin Brown would be in place 4. I make that recommendation to council as well.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
And then in place 6, I make the recommendation to council for Hardy Hampton.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes.
And then Parks and Leisure Services Advisory Board, we'll be discussing that in January due to lack of nominations.
Okay. Now, I hope y'all realize we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, like 25 of them.
I did miss one.
Oh, gracious.
In planning and zoning, Brian Leslie in place 6. Sorry.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes. You worked hard, lady.
I've been busy.
You have been busy. I came up here and sat on at least one of your meetings. Good job. Thank you, ma'am. Is that the end of your committee?
That is the end of my committee meeting. Thank you.
Ms. Harris?
Take it home. All right. So this
Jess is not here, so you're gonna like that.
Okay. So this is the October budget review, so we're only 1 month into the year. It's a little slow starting, so for our property taxes, we received $333,000 in October, which is a $35,000 decrease over last fiscal year. It's 5% of our target budget. It's about $163,000 less than anticipated, but it's really too soon to tell if that's an issue. We received $905,000 in sales tax in October. That was $48,000, or 6% more than last year. It's 10% of our budget, and it's about $140,000 higher than we anticipated.
Year to date.
Just for the 1 month. Of the $2.9 million received to date, 48% was received in the general fund, 40% received in the water wastewater fund, and 4% was received in the landfill. We received 7% of our total budgeted revenues in October. That's about $245,000 more than anticipated. That's due to taxes, permits, charges for services, court fines, and investment income. We've received $71,000 more in revenue this October than last year, and that's due to our taxes, permits, court fines, and investment income. Of the $2.4 million spent to date, 68% was expended in the general fund, 27% was expended in the water wastewater fund, and 3% was expended in the landfill fund. We've expended 4% of our total budget expenditures in October. That's $3.1 million less than anticipated. That's due to personnel, contractual, and capital outlay. It's a large portion of it. We've spent 1.7 million less in expenditures than October last year to date, and the bulk of that is our capital outlay. CETA has received an overall 10% of their budgeted revenue in October. That's 6,000 more than last year to date and 17,000 more than anticipated due to taxes and interest income. And they've spent an overall 1% of budgeted expenditures in October. That's 4,000 less than last year to date due to contractual expenditures, and 114,000 less than anticipated due to contractual capital outlay and grant disbursements. Any questions?
Questions for Monica? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So the next thing on the agenda is the presentation of our transparency website. If y'all remember last year, we come to you and asked to purchase from ClearGov, and what we're going to show you is just the transparency piece. We got some other pieces with them. We did the digital budget book this last budget cycle with them, which turned out pretty good. But this is the transparency piece that I can't tell if it's working. Oh, there it is, little tiny.
It's really transparent. I can see right past it.
Okay, here we go. Can y'all help move the mouse? I can't get this one to work. If you'll go down to transparency. Thank you. Let's see if we can make this work here. So this page looks a lot different than what we had before. One of the things that you'll see is the demographics is a little, this mouse is just not working. I'm sorry.
That's too far away, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have you do it. So if you'll scroll down, it's got some of the population information, medium home values, things like that, has some income, and then it goes into really in depth, probably more than you wanted to know about the transparency. Go ahead and scroll back up. About our demographics. Scroll back up to the top, I'm sorry. But you can go into the demographic and go really in depth if you want to. If I'm not gonna do a whole lot on that. What really I wanted to show, there's some major things, is the next one over is our revenue. So pretty much what I just covered here is also covered there. I split this out for you guys between our primary government and then the CETA separately. This one, you can do it by fund. If you'll show where the general fund is and do all funds. Then it shows everything, and you can drill down, if you'll scroll down a little bit. And it shows you their taxes, and then you can view the breakdown. Click on breakdown. And so it goes into more detail as to how much collected and then what it makes up. Scroll down a little bit further, please. And it shows the difference between the different years. And if you'll go back up. And then and you can look at just this year's, and then you can also see the 23, 22, and so forth. The next one over is the expenditures, and it's the same thing, and you can drill down as far as you want into that, into specific account detail. I'm gonna make this go fast, so we're not gonna go into it. This is just a taste, so if you guys wanna play with it later, I know it's exciting to me only.
You can tell in our faces.
Scroll back up.
Brandy's really intrigued by it.
We've already,
You're really intrigued by it.
we already went over the demographics. The next thing is the debt. So that's where we've gone out and we've listed all of our debt. Does that say, I'm sorry, I can't.
It's not, never right.
Yeah, so it's 2024, but we also have our debt all the way out even further than that we can show. This is just for this fiscal year. So we have our debt and the different types of debt that we have, and it explains it all in pretty good detail. And then it also has where it says per capita per year, so that's telling you what each one of you are paying for all of our different debt. And then if you want to scroll back up, and then the next one is the checkbook. We had this on our previous one as well, and so each month we go in and throw out all of our check information out there. So if people want to know who we're paying what, there it is. So just wanted you to get a little taste of what we have. Feel free to play with it or not. But it's there for anybody that would like to, see what the government's doing.
Questions for Monica?
I think it's interesting too, Monica, don't worry.
But you're a banker, though.
I don't know. When I get to the review and I look up there, it's like all glassy eyes. So.
What's your point, Monica? Thank you.
I'm not a banker, and I think it's full picture, so.
So that's what your money paid for.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Wonderful, thank you.
Next item is consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I want to make a motion, but before I do that, I want to turn everyone's attention to number 39. This is an opportunity to do a cure-in-place pipe replacement. This is a pipe that can be rebuilt without excavating. I want to give kudos to Nick and his crew for bringing this forward. I hope this is the first of a ton of these things that come our way. With that, sir, I'd like to
How
move,
many tons is that? No,
I'd like to move to approve consent as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, consent agenda is approved. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, this is our last meeting for 2023, so we'll pick up after the new year. City Hall will be closed Monday, December 25th, Tuesday, December 26th for Christmas, and Monday, January 1st for New Year's. And that's all I have.
I just want to give a special thank you also to Nick. He and Jeremy Jennings were kind enough to show me around the new project downtown at the park and out on the Hike, Ohio. I mean, I got a big tour. And I appreciate the MH Civil and their supervisors, Manuel and Marco, and of course Nick and Jeremy for taking the time to answer all my questions and letting me climb 35 feet down into a hole. And so anyway, it was fun. Thank you so much, and hope everybody has a wonderful and Merry Christmas.
Fun.
Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, safe, and a great holiday ahead of us.
Bob.
Merry Christmas.
I'd like to give a shout out to Darren. We got basketball season underway this past week, and it seems to be going well. Lots of kids, no complaints that I've heard so far. So shout out to Darren and his crew at the park, and happy holidays.
We saved those for the end of the season.
We didn't get technicals this weekend, so we're fine.
David.
All right, don't put a clock on me because I got a couple things to say. First, my wife would kill me if I didn't mention Light Up the Night at the park. So I think, Erath County United Way does a great job putting on our light show at our city park. Darren and them doing a great job cleaning up the park to make it look just wonderful down there. So the next 3 weekends, I believe, get down to Light Up the Night. Check it out. It's a great show. Chief Harris, Shop with a Cop, is that?
Yes, sir. December 21st.
Need some money?
Always, yes,
I'll
sir.
give you some. Everybody else needs to too.
How much
I'll-
you giving, David? We'll see if we
I will give you $100 right now as soon as we walk out.
All
So
right,
I
we'll
will
match that tonight.
I will hope everybody else will too. So thank you for continuing to do that. Chief Isbell, had some health problems over the last month. Your paramedics did a wonderful job with me. Missed the November rural health meetings, and I can tell you we live in a great community, great hospital. Everybody up here, staff, council members, everybody was great to me. Thoughts and prayers. Jason and Doug coming to sit with my wife while I had a heart procedure was awesome. I appreciate everything that everybody up here does for me. And Merry Christmas, and I hope everyone has a great New Year.
Brandon.
David, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays and Merry Christmas as well.
Mark?
Another Merry Christmas from me, but I also want to just say thank you to Encore and their representatives. This is, I think, what happened over the last couple of days, where they came with a plan, they listened to what the neighbors said, and they were willing to make changes based on what the neighbors said. That's the kind of partner we need in Stephenville, Texas, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, with that, in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code annotated in accordance with Section 551.074, Personnel Matters, Deliberate the Appointment, Employment, Evaluation of City Secretary. I said that, I made it sound like we're not gonna hire you again. I'm sorry. I didn't intend it to be that way.
Thank you.
And then section 551.7071, consultation with attorney or pending litigation. With that, we'll adjourn, we will recess into executive session. We'll be back. It is 8:22, I called back in regular session, there was nothing that we have to vote on out here, so with that, the agenda is finished, and so we will stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.